I am joined by Robert Griffin III, James White, Field Yates Meanekeims.
All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick here. Taylor Kyle is there, back with a Friday edition of the Patriots Daily Podcast, powered by Prize Picks. It's a windy one out there. I feel like my window just almost, came crashing down in on me right as we started the show, so I'm already distracted. But there's a ton of Patriots stuff going on. So before we get into what the name of the show is, the dream free agency plus a mock draft, basically what we'll do there is go through all of the intel that has come out from the NFL Combine. There's some names that people have floated that the Patriots will be interested in. So we'll use those kind of guys, fill it in that way, who we think they really could potentially sign next week, as well as sort of making it a dream because, you may not get everybody, but a kid can dream. So we'll try that. Then we will go into a 7-round mock draft after that on PFF to fill in all of the holes. But before we get to that, Taylor, some news in Patriots land. Daniel Jeremiah, NFL draft expert and sort of pseudo analyst insider over at the NFL Network, was on ESPN's Pat McAfee show today and said that everybody in the league believes that DK Metcalf will go to the Patriots. Now, of course, he did request a trade, from Seattle earlier this week. And John Schneider went on Seattle radio yesterday and said that they've talked to plenty of teams. There was also the intel from Doug and Andrew that the Patriots kicked the tires on Metcalf. Pats have a ton of money. Pats have a ton of capital. So it sounds like they will be in the mix. And again, DJ says that. So your thoughts on that, what you make of that, and would it be the right move for the Patriots to go get a guy like DK Metcalf to bring into the fold?
I wouldn't want Metcalf to be the only addition they made because I still think this is a wide receiver room that needs a leader. It kind of needs that veteran presence where I think, it's nothing against DK, but the reality is in Seattle, there were questions about him keeping his emotions under control because there were times where sometimes get a little bit too emotional and he would do some things on the field. He's been ejected a couple of times in 2023. Like he had multiple unsportsmanlike conduct penalties going back to last season. I think he was second among wide receivers in penalties overall. So, that's not a great example for a guy who's probably, if he comes to the Patriots, you can bank on him making at least $30 million. And I know Albert Breer went on the radio and mentioned that, players are going to pay attention to who you're paying. So if he's one addition and that's your deep threat, and that's really where he excels, where you can talk about, DK, is he a fit in the room? Is he going to want to even come to New England, period? That's something where, he has said that he doesn't see New England as a desirable destination. That's not nothing. Right. And this is league sources that, Daniel Jeremiah is hearing from, but is he hearing from DK Metcalf, who, let's be honest with ourselves, right? If he goes to LA, if he goes to Vegas, do we really think he's not going to end up making more money than if he came to Massachusetts? Like, sure, they may pay him the most money he's going to get from the NFL. He's going to get brand deals if he goes off in LA. He's going to get brand deals if he goes off in Las Vegas. Those are more profitable places to go long-term than a place like Massachusetts. So again, money talks to some degree, but I think if we really want to play devil's advocate, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Metcalf to come here. But if he does, he gives you the deep threat. Now, I'd like it to be a complementary piece alongside him, whether it's, a name that we're going to talk about shortly, whether it's a Darius Slayton, who was a Walter Payton Man of the Year, was credited by Malik Neighbors for really helping him kind of grow into a professional in the league and how to really be an NFL player. So I like DK Metcalf, the deep threat. DK Metcalf, the locker room fit, I have questions about. But hey, man, they're starved. When I looked at the numbers for just how bad the Patriots receiving core has been since the last time they had a 100-catch, 1,000-yard receiver, do you know who it was and when it was?
100-catch, 1,000-yard same season?
Yeah.
Jules comes to mind, but I don't know if he did it in the same year.
Do you know when? He did. Do you know when?
Like 17 or something?
2019.
19? Okay.
Yeah. Which is actually crazy because, another guy we're going to talk about, Jules had the knee injury and actually had his best career season in Tom Brady's last year in 2019 when they really didn't have anybody else. It also felt like Jules unlocked a little extra vertical part of his game that year. But, again, DK would be the best receiver by far they've had since then, but I don't think we can just throw the whole culture fit part of that out the window because, if he's getting these penalties in games, if he's getting ejected, that's going to be a really bad look for the organization. But also, if he puts up numbers, all gets forgiven at some point if you're doing your job and being productive on the field.
100%. And I'm with you on the culture fit, I think. And I think Breer actually said this morning on the radio as well, where the guys you bring in like your first year of free agency set the table for how you want your locker room to run, right? And so bringing in, what looks like an A-plus guy in Ronnie Stanley sort of sets the standard for how you want to run things moving forward. Same with the guy we're going to talk about next, and let's get right into it, actually, and that's Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is also set to be a free agent on the market this offseason. Mike Giardi, our colleague here at Patriots CLNS, Boston Sports Journal, tweeted this morning that he's going to have a lot of suitors. He added that the Patriots are going to be the drivers in that Chris Godwin sweepstakes, and that he could warrant as high as $25 million a season, even coming off the dislocated ankle last year. He has had a torn ACL in the past. He hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout the majority of his career. I know that he's played, 10 plus games quite often, but he never quite hits that 16, 17 game range. But when he's healthy, he's a great wide receiver. He's proved it with Tom Brady. He's proved it with Jameis Winston. He's proved it with Baker Mayfield. He's always been consistent when he can stay on the field. This is a guy who I would go after if I was the Patriots. I think you talk about the mix between production as well as a locker room fit. It feels like a slam dunk. But what say you? What do you think about Godwin's fit here? And would you go after him over a guy like DK Metcalf?
So I actually like them as complementary moves. I think Chris Godwin could be one of those foundational additions the Patriots make. For the offensive line, it's Ronnie Stanley, right? That's a guy who's had success. You already know what he is. The injuries obviously are the glaring red flag, especially when you pair with his age. But it's a similar situation, unfortunately, with Godwin, except he's coming off of an injury. Now, I do think it's important to put Godwin's injury history into a little bit of perspective. So when I look at, it's mostly been lower body injuries are the ones that really concern me. So in 2019, he had a hamstring injury. He missed 2 games, but those are the last games of the season. And I don't think the Buccaneers were in playoff contention. So little asterisk there. He tore his right ACL and MCL in 2021, missed the final 3 games of the season. That kind of carried over into the 2022 season where they really took it easy with him in the offseason. When he came back week 1 of 2022, he suffered a hamstring strain, which you understand, right? We talked about how Mike Vrabel doesn't really tolerate hamstring injuries. That's more because if it's a soft tissue injury, that can have a lot to do with how much work you're putting in to make sure you're rehabbing it. With Godwin, that's not a concern. If he can get better, he's going to get better. Had that because he didn't really participate in the summer, so that's kind of to be expected when you're just getting back into football shape. He only missed 2 games. He still played the rest of the year. And then last year, led the league with 50 catches through the first 7 weeks, but dislocated his left knee, which was season-ending. That's not nothing. All right. That is very significant. But at the same time, this is a guy who had an injury, came back. You're pretty confident that at the worst case scenario, he's a chain mover. He's a guy that, he and Drake May can hopefully mind meld and become a really consistent duo where you're not winning with explosiveness. That's not really Chris Godwin's game anyway. He wins with route running, savviness, reliable hands, all those sorts of things. So if you sign him, I'm much more open-minded to a DK Metcalf, to a Brandon Ayuk, because those are more colorful personalities. They may not like being in New England. Once again, it's not the best situation, and maybe their buy-in is going to depend on how things go in the regular season and early on. Chris Godwin, he's the guy where the young players can go and look at, like, this is how it gets done. If I want to have a long, successful NFL career, I need to do what this guy's doing. No knock on Ayuk or Metcalf. I'm sure they can do a lot in terms of leading by example, but Godwin is known for being that guy. He's been a team captain. So, again, I think he can be the glue that the Patriots build their passing game around. And, yeah, they're going to have to pay $25 million to do it, but money is not an object. Plenty of opportunity. There's no reason not to sign Godwin for not just what he can do on the field whenever he gets back, but the ripple effect that's going to have on the rest of the offense.
So, look, I would love the idea of him being a complementary piece to an eventual trade for a guy, right? But, and yes, money's not technically an option because they have 125 plus million. They have the most cap in the league right now. But if you trade for DK, he's going to warrant a $30 to $35 million a year price tag for the foreseeable future. Brandon Ayuk just signed that 4-year, $120 million. That's $30 million a year. Last year, that he'll carry that over.
Niners might eat some of that if they trade him too. Depends on what draft capital they get back.
That's fair. You can only hope. But so then at that point, you're tied into 25 to Godwin and then 30 plus for the other guy. That's $55 million total on 2 wide receivers. Like,
You know how much good quarterbacks make?
55.
A year.
The thing, and so then I look at it and I would love it. And I think any reasonable person would love that to be on this Patriots offense, but you still have holes on defense. And you look at the Bengals right now, they're going to end up paying
unlimited. You have more money than you know what to, I understand you're playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
There's no devil in this scenario. They literally, the issue is not that they have enough money, it's that they have too much. They literally don't have enough good players that want to come here, even if they got everybody, right? If this dream scenario that we put together came to fruition, they're fine. The cap's going up and they're not paying a quarterback. They're not really paying anybody.
True.
And then you're also hoping in the draft is where a lot of the like core of this roster is going to be. So you're talking about, yeah, you're overpaying some people.
Not a bad point.
That's the leftover money from money that you're not spending anywhere else.
And if you look at
the contracts, I'm sorry. Last thing is you front load the contracts. If you want to talk about cap space, you can manipulate the cap as long as you don't sign bad players. Ronnie Stanley, hopefully he's healthy. Chris Godwin, DK, maybe they're not perfect fits, but they're all guys that have been productive in their careers when they're on the field. So it's not going to be a bad contract because they're not bad players. You can eat it for 2 years, and then as your young guys develop, then the cap starts to renew. You cut those guys because they're not really going to be against the cap like they did last season with the guys they re-signed. And hopefully the young nucleus comes through the draft. I rest my case.
No, because you're right. The way I'm comparing it to this Bengals team that has the quarterback, has the 2 receivers, and has the defender that they just had to put in the trade block. The Patriots are different because what's that?
And a truly generationally cheap owner. Like, I know you can say what you want about the Crafts, and yes, clearly they're not shelling out money to make their football team as comfy as whatever. But like the Bengals are known for not paying players. We already see it. Like none of this would have happened if they had signed these guys to contracts last year. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, but that's another big part of this is like they're not even the same situation because the Patriots want to throw money. The Bengals have the talent in house and they don't want to pay them, which is disgusting.
And the biggest bill they have due though is Burrow. That's the thing. The Patriots don't owe May yet, and so you bring in the 2 dominant wide receivers. You still paying May. For it's still a decent contract, but it's a number 3 pick versus Joe Burrow. Then you pay Godwin, you pay Ayuk, you hopefully develop some receivers, and by the time you have to pay Drake May, you're out of the Chris Godwin contract. You're on the back end of the Ayuk contract. You can make savvy salary cap moves that way. So at the end of the day, I would love the idea of bringing in Godwin. It feels like a cheaper deal. Yes, the injuries are a concern, but he's a locker room guy. He's had success with multiple quarterbacks. He's only, I think, 29 years old, so he's still on the backside of 30. That one makes a ton of sense, and then you kind of move around and figure out the secondary pieces after that. But I think that is my number 1 wide receiver option right now.
Yeah, Godwin actually just turned 29, so he's not going to be 30 even until next year. And again, with his role, it's like Edelman. Like Edelman played for a while. It just came down to his body gave up on him. And, hopefully Godwin is able to keep himself in decent shape. But I wouldn't be even worried about his age because of what he does on the field.
100%. All right, let's get into the good stuff here. Let's talk about this dream free agency scenario for the New England Patriots. Now, we did get plenty of intel from the Combine. I know we've talked a lot about it here on the show. I know you guys hit on it last week when you were in Indianapolis as well. But there are guys that the Patriots are interested in. So, Taylor, what I will do here is basically share my screen of the Patriots depth chart that we have been working off here this offseason. And figure we use this same sort of template a few times with our free agency stuff in the last couple episodes, and this is kind of how we filled out where the Patriots might be. Now we know that there are guys the Patriots are interested in. I wrote it up, and I know I shared it with you, but there are 6 offensive linemen that the Patriots are connected to. There's 2 defensive tackles, 3 linebackers, a D end, 3 wide receivers, 4 cornerbacks. A lot of this is from the Boston Herald. Some of this is from Mike Reese's piece on Sunday, but there are guys that the Patriots have in mind to sign this offseason. So what we'll do is use those sort of tidbits. We'll fill in who we think would be the best scenario, fill them in on the team, and then what we can do after the fact is go through a 7-round mock draft, like you mentioned, and we'll fill in the remainder of the holes to put together our dream Patriots offseason. So, Taylor, I guess kick it off, and we can talk right off the top about a guy at left tackle who is a major hole here, and that's Ronnie Stanley. He will be among the Patriots' top targets. That is according to Doug and Andrew at the Boston Herald. And he is going to cost, I would say, somewhere on a 3-year deal, $25 million per. Has dealt with some injuries in the past, but he played a full healthy season last year. Is this like top tier A1, the signing you think this team needs to make, or do you think it kind of goes more towards a guy like, you know, Milton Williams or someone on the defensive side of the football?
The Patriots, at the very least, have some players that you're saying, all right, like I could see you having starting snaps, even if you're not ideal at receiver. They do not have a starting caliber left tackle. Mm-hmm. And yes, so yeah, I think that Ronnie Stanley is like the white whale. Now, hopefully not a white whale. I think that's a whale that you let go. But this is the guy that you want in free agency because the drop-off is pretty significant. I think Cam Robinson, frankly, is the most realistic choice.
Okay.
And the part of me that, you know, doesn't want to jinx it, doesn't just wants to put Cam Robinson because he's not going to go back to Minnesota. They already have a good left tackle in Christian Darrisaw. He's going to hit the market. He has familiarity with Doug Marrone. And I don't know that this market's going to be so robust that he's going to say, no, if the Patriots throw a bag, I'm not interested. He's probably going to be looking to cash in.
Right.
And the Chiefs just offloaded Joe Thuney's contract, which makes you think they could maybe be preparing themselves to make a run at Ronnie Stanley. Plus, I mean, if it comes down to like $3 or $4 million, maybe $5 million, but then you get the chance to protect Patrick Mahomes, go to and win a Super Bowl. The Patriots just can't compete with that kind of situation. And if a player is willing to say, hey, I'm willing to take a little less money to go to a place where I think I'm going to win, I think that's what they're going to do. At the same time, the Patriots can throw as much money as they want to. Like, they can make Ronnie Stanley the highest paid left tackle if he wanted. I don't think they're going to do that. You have to draw a line somewhere.
Sure.
Do you feel comfortable slotting him in? Because obviously this would be the dream scenario. How realistic do we think it is that he actually would be willing to come here?
That's the problem, is I'm trying to like stand on the fence between dream scenario and also realistic, because like at the end of the day, if they do bring in Cam Robinson, yes, he's had an up and down career across Jacksonville and Minnesota, but he came in and, you know, solidified himself a little bit last year when Christian Darrisaw went down. But I look at Stanley and I think about how reasonable it is, because he could also just go back to Baltimore. And once he hits the open market, he finds his market and then signs back with the team that's been there or that he's been with for, you know, the beginning part of his career. So, man, it's tough. But I think that with all of the other dream moves we're probably going to want to make here to keep it realistic, I think we probably do go with Cam Robinson, the guy who you mentioned has familiarity with offensive line coach Doug Marrone.
All right, let's go with Cam Robinson. Right, if Ronnie Stanley, then that's fantastic, but it doesn't feel realistic. And again, the Chiefs, if they need to make the money, like I'm sure they'll pay the money. So
right. All right, we're going with Cam Robinson here. We're signing him at left tackle. As far as some other moves here quickly, I think what we can do is plug Austin Hooper into the wide tight end spot. I feel like they're probably going to bring him back, and I think that makes a ton of sense.
100%. There's familiarity with McDaniels and Vrabel and Drake May. It makes entirely too much sense.
I'm going to just throw him in right now. What I'll do here is I'll leave these as free agents because I know that this is your final depth chart, and I don't want to kind of mess with your planning here. So I'll throw them in, keep them as free agents, and then we can mess with it after. But Austin Hooper gets signed as a tight end. I want to make that bigger. That's wrong. I understand the stresses of having to plug in an Excel sheet on a live podcast. It gets a little dicey. But all right, right off the top,
a bit of practice. You're doing good so far.
Exactly. Cam Robinson and Austin Hooper are our first two signings.
Michael Mayer also. That's a good point. It's someone we should at least acknowledge. I don't know what the relationship is with Josh McDaniels, how much he did like Michael Mayer, but I doubt he's going to cost very much to acquire. And the Patriots do need a young developmental type, especially at the Y spot.
I know it. So do we go Mayer over Hooper? Trade target?
I don't think over. I think maybe you complement those, and like Mayer becomes your developmental guy. Maybe you draft another guy who you think could take over for Hunter Henry.
So do we just plug him in here as a trade?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Let's get dreamy. Let's get dreamy.
Exactly.
Baby.
All right, cool. I like it.
Great job.
This is what dreams are made of.
Good job, Ice.
Ice.
Great contribution. We're going with it.
Speaking of which, I want to go back to the chat a little bit. We did get a super chat from Jeff. We appreciate the heck out of you, Jeff. Thank you for the super chat. Jeff says, call me crazy, but I don't care about a wide receiver being a locker room guy. I want my wide receiver to be a diva, want the ball, and get 1,000 yards. I agree to an extent, but the Patriots still need, I'm using a Gerard Mayo quote here, but a North Star in that room. They need a leader. They need a type of guy who everybody can sort of look towards. Is DK Metcalf that? I don't know. But in general, they do need some sort of locker room presence in that room to kind of hone things together.
Like, DK is the needle mover that they need. And that's why I'm saying I'm not against DK. I just want him as one piece of a two-part move to add some veterans, because DK is the guy where it's like, again, he's produced. He's going to be a guy who garners respect by defenses and from your own team because of what he brings on the field. But with the inconsistencies, you do worry. That's why I'd like a Darius Slayton or a Chris Godwin, just to be able to be like, yeah, all right, we all know that DK, it's like with Randy Moss, right? I don't think young guys were looking at Randy being like, this is the man I'm going to model my entire life after. But they're like, as a player, like, yeah, I want to see what he does because he's a beast. Then you have like a Wes Welker where it's like, yeah, if you want to learn how to run routes, if you want to learn how to survive in this league and be a dog, not that Randy's not, but Wes,
Right.
Obviously different draft position, very different situation. So again, I'm not against DK. I just want there to be another complimentary move.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you. All right, well, let's continue this. But before we do, we do need to shout out a quick word from our friends over at Prize Picks. We'll do that. We'll get back into our dream free agency. We will be right back. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. And all you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks. They now offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. And the second half of the basketball season is officially here, and the race to the playoffs is heating up on Prize Picks. So don't miss your chance to cash in as the league's best fight for playoff positioning. You think LeBron James will get more than 24 points? You think Giannis will get more than 35? Cook up those hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season. All you got to do is sign up on the Prize Picks app today, download the app, and use that code CLNS. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Celtics vs. Lakers tomorrow night at TD Garden. LeBron James, Luka Doncic come to town. Jason Tatum coming off a monster win with the Celtics last night. If you want to get in on the action, download the Prize Picks app. Use that code. Have some fun with us. All right, Taylor, let's get back into it. Dream free agency.
So thanks, Jeff. Hell yeah.
Let's go. Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it. We do have, I guess we can plug that.
Example.
We'll plug that right now. We'll get all those in. We do have new membership tiers. Rookie starter, all pro, GOAT status. You get ad-free content at the lowest level. Enjoy member videos. With that. You know what? I'm not going to read this. I'm going to play a video from our friend Taylor. He explained it better from the combine. I'll let him hear his own voice, just like I have to hear mine every time. But Jeff, we appreciate you being a new member. It means a lot. It's going to help our content continue to get better, continue to grow. We do have bonus content. Here's Taylor telling you about all of it. And then I promise we will get back into our dream offseason.
What's going on, everyone? Taylor Cowles here for CLNS Media with a very exciting announcement. Here at Patriots Press Pass, we will be introducing bonus tiers. Now, this will not affect any of the content that hopefully you've grown to know and love over here at Patriots Press Pass. It's all going to be some brand new stuff and extras so we can connect with you more and also provide you some more in-depth and high-quality content. Hopefully, you guys are going to like it. Here are the tiers and what you should be expecting from all these new bonuses. At Tier 1, we've got Rookie Starter. That'll come with ad-free content, early access to videos, 5% off of all merchandise, and even custom emojis. At Tier 2, we've got All Pro. Once again, ad-free content, early access, 10% off merchandise, custom emojis, but that'll also come with player profile film reviews and draft profiles. At Tier 3, we've got GOAT status. Same as all the other tiers, but it's going to be 20% off of all merchandise, and we're also going to have custom segments, Discord chat rooms with myself and other show hosts, as well as live film reviews with myself and whomever we've got on the podcast for that day. Hoping to have some pretty fun guests.
All right, that is our membership tiers. Thank you, Taylor, for telling us all about it. So check it out. We've got plenty of bonus content coming, but Patriots Daily will not be behind said paywall. We'll be back here as we always are. So if you want to get in on even bonus action, check it out and sign up today. All right, now let's get back to the dream off season. Anyone else off the top of your head or off of what we were talking about on offense that you believe that they should really try and fill in here free agent wise before we move into the defense, which I think there's going to be plenty of potential options?
I'll finish rounding out the trenches, then we can get to wide receiver.
Okay.
I will say left guard Patrick McCarry. It feels too easy. I know Tevin Jenkins is another name that's in consideration, but honestly, man, we have the young talent on the roster. I think they need veterans who are consistent and reliable. Patrick McCarry is the poster child of that. He's played a bunch of different positions. I think has he played every position on the offensive line? I think maybe everything but center. He brings incredible versatility. He's got shorter arms. He's not an athletic marvel, but his ability to recover when he's beaten is really impressive. He held his own for the most part against Milton Williams. Now, obviously, Milton Williams is the top free agent this year for a reason. I mean, he did have some pretty convincing wins, but still, considering Layden Robinson, you don't know what you're going to get from him in sophomore season. It would be cool to see him be able to learn from a veteran like McCarry.
Yeah, I think so too. I think look, we were going to mention it before in our first segment. We missed out on it, but the Patriots called on Joe Thuney last week. So they are, or this past week rather. They're in on upgrading every piece of that offensive line, no matter what. Even center. I know that David Andrews is here, but he's getting old, and it sounds like they've sort of had conversations on some of those guys as well. So I think that if they think McCarry can come in and be an upgrade over these guys, and like you said, be sort of a leader in the room, someone that the guys behind him can learn from, then I think that makes all the sense in the world. So you don't get your Ronnie Stanley from the Ravens, but instead you bring in McCarry and pair him up on the left side with Cam Robinson. As far as right tackle goes, we kind of have it opened up. I know we may use that in our draft that we do after this, but is there anyone that you think they could sort of add to the room at that position, or are we just going to kind of leave it up to Caden Wallace until the draft comes around?
I actually would like to add someone else who spent some time in Baltimore. That is right tackle Morgan Moses from the Jets. Okay. I think he's going to be the best right tackle on the market. Not going to be a guy that demands much. So even if the Patriots overpay, it's not going to be anything significant, especially for a guy who could, like Patrick McCarry, for Layden Robinson, and maybe even Caden Wallace, another guy who could mentor Caden Wallace on the right side. McCarry could play both spots. Maybe they sign another guard and end up having McCarry at tackle. But I do think like McCarry's got like 30-inch arms, so it is kind of scary when he's out on the edge, so that wouldn't exactly be ideal. But yeah, I think Morgan Moses would be a really good fit. He was solid for the Jets when healthy, even though he's up there in age and isn't quite as athletic as he used to be.
He was, and I don't think he'll cost a ton either because of that age. And he was sort of, well, in New York last year, they signed not Trent. What the heck's his name? Tyron Smith. Thank you. Jesus. Signed Tyron Smith. They drafted Olu Fashanu and kind of used him as a stopgap, a bridge to him. I think the Patriots could do something similar with Morgan Moses, where they sign him, but use him as a bridge to a potential right tackle, whether that be Caden Robinson or Caden Wallace, or whether that be somebody in the draft. So we fill in the trenches with Cam Robinson, Patrick McCarry, and Morgan Moses. We also sign Austin Hooper back, and we trade for Michael Mayer. But the big position on offense is
real quick. I do want to address one more thing. Okay. Center, it's probably going to be more of a depth signing, so we don't really need to touch on it too much. And we already have a bunch of names at center. I actually had to move Cole Strange, who might end up being the backup center. It's just nobody else in this list, I don't think, has any experience anywhere else. But I think the Herald mentioned, so Doug and Andrew, that center is a position to watch for in free agency. The Patriots actually have ties to multiple centers, both from Jason Hoteling, also from Thomas Brown, and I think there's some guys that played for them with Vrabel in Tennessee. So again, we don't need to dive into the names at center. We have a lot more to do, but just a little reminder for everybody who's watching.
Position to watch next week for sure. I would tend to agree with that. We got another new member. Shout out Stut. Became a YouTube member. This is fun. You look at that studio behind Taylor. These memberships are what is paying for that. We'll have a ton of new content from the studio. I'll tease that a little bit. We're going to continue setting that up and get you some of the best stuff. So we appreciate it, Stut. Thank you for joining. And when you look at this live chat, there's so many green. MA football guy. I don't know why he said Ash, but he is also a member. So we're cooking up. We're getting things going here on Press Pass, so we're excited to keep it going. At any rate, Taylor, the big free agent position is wide receiver. Do we think they're going to sign more than one? Do we just plug Chris Godwin in here? Cooper Kupp sounds like he might get cut as well, so he could become a free agent next week. What are your thoughts on the position? I know we kind of just talked it out with at the beginning of the show, rather, with Chris Godwin becoming available. Is he our guy? Are we looking for a trade here? Are we going to plug Metcalf in? Are we thinking AJ Brown even? It sounds like the Patriots called on him. What is the dream, and how do we sort of pair it with what is realistic?
I'm literally hijacking because I realized I probably should have had the X receiver spot as blank because, yes, Kayshon Boutte was solid last season. I do think he's someone who should compete for at least a rotational role as a possession receiver. Javon Baker, you're hoping to get a lot more from him. But yeah, I think we may need to double dip at this position because as much as I like Kendrick Bourne, I think that Kendrick Bourne could really bounce back under Josh McDaniels. He had, I think, his best career season under Josh McDaniels. I also think that you want to upgrade and you want some guys who have a proven track record of success over multiple seasons. So Z slot, I think we actually end up replacing Kendrick Bourne with a Chris Godwin.
Interesting. Okay. So Bourne gets, are we keeping Bourne? Is he on the roster? Does he remain?
I think that if you sign someone like a Godwin, I feel like those two overlap a little bit. Now, maybe Kendrick ends up on the roster. If we want, like, we can do something like this where instead we just kind of bump Jaquay Jackson. Also, in this roster, like, ideally we'd have some of the cuts in mind, not all of them. He's probably not going to be there. So I think
and
this
Jackson's certainly one of them.
to be honest.
I like that. All right. Well, then let's fill in Godwin there. Hold on.
Patriots are throwing the bag.
Yes,
I'm
they
getting
are.
out of here. I'm getting out of here.
You're good. We're going with Chris Godwin at the Z slot. We are giving him $25 million per, just like he wants, because he is our ultimate locker room presence that we bring in free agency. But the X/Z, the outside receiver position is still blank. Now, is this for Slayton? Is this for Metcalf? What is this for? What are you thinking at X? Or do we leave it blank and kind of wait until free agency and let everything else, or the draft rather, and let everything else come into place that way?
This feels like Brandon Ayuk. And as much as I want to put Darius Slayton here, Ayuk is not just something that was floating around like the Twitter sphere. Like, it's something that people are acknowledging now. Like, I know, I don't know how reliable Grant Cohn is for the 49ers, so I don't want to like plug the guy, but I know he's involved in their beat. I saw he acknowledged it. I believe did somebody on our beat also kind of tie the Patriots to Brandon Ayuk?
I want to say Bedard. I want to say Bedard said that there's sort of or there's reason to believe that they could call again because of the talks last year. Anyway,
yeah. So at the very least, it's something that makes sense. Whereas Slayton, we haven't heard anything about it, so maybe they see him as more of like a second. I mean, he probably is a second wave of free agency guy. But you know what? If we're doing dream scenario, I'm saying, hey, with Ayuk, you and the 49ers figure it out where you don't pay all of the money, but you're also saying, hey, I'm not giving you my first third round pick. I'll give you my second. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I don't really care which third round pick it is. Maximize what you've got. I think you could also get more capital with your first and second anyway. But I think Brandon Ayuk would make sense. And while there's not a whole lot of downfield juice in this group, like with Ayuk, you have to acknowledge you have no idea when he's coming back. You're relying on two injured players. That's not nothing. That is significant, especially when Godwin may be available, maybe not Ayuk, but you also have your younger guys on the roster. And if you want, you sign like a Nick Westbrook-Akine or something who isn't going to demand top dollar, but give you a little bit more depth on the outside. And I think with both of these guys being guys with proven track records, Ayuk's still young. You're hoping he can bounce back from his injury and contribute at a higher level than what you've had in recent years this year. And then in the future, maybe he gets some of that explosiveness back.
So while we do this, we do have to keep in mind when we jump into what will likely become a rather rapid fire 7-round mock draft to fill in these holes. Maybe we could even do the first couple rounds when we do it. But we have another member. Let's go. They're coming in at a clip here. We appreciate it. Dude, we could have like a telethon and just clap people in every time. Well, there is actually, we'll plug that after. But we got a new member. We appreciate you.
Thanks, G.
We got to keep in mind that, like Ayuk, for example, what are we thinking for a trade there? Because we're not going to be able to make that pick when we fill in the holes.
I think that's going to come down to a third-round pick and then maybe a late rounder as well.
Okay.
And then you get Ayuk and maybe another, like a late-round pick swap, I think would make sense. So a third-round pick, late-round pick swap, Ayuk.
So we will at least take out one of the third-round picks when we do that after this to make sure that we acknowledge that we're not baking all of our
We'll
picks.
just take like whoever's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
or a kicker.
We'll just take kickers. All right, love it. All right, that's our offense. Trade for Brandon Ayuk, trade for Michael. Oh, what are we trading for Michael Mayer, roughly? I don't even know.
Late round pick swap. So maybe we lose 2 7ths. Or we lose a 7th. Or
that's easy. We'll talk it through when we do the draft.
Yeah. Also, I'm stopping it at 4 rounds. Because
I like that. We'll do 4 rounds because realistically, the first 4 rounds are what are going to fill the holes. Everything else is, our filler picks anyway. So let's move to the defense now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we still do it.
Should we trade Godshaw?
Oh yeah.
On the trade block.
Let's just trade him. He's gone. We traded him. We love you.
All
Goodbye.
right, so that's the pick that we get for that's the Mayer pick. Whatever we give up, we get for Godshaw.
So Godshaw and Mayer are a wash. So that's easy. And we just lose the 3rd round pick for Brandon Ayuk. So there we go. That makes sense. Godshaw is now gone. We appreciate your service, but see you later, Devon.
Devon Gonshaw.
Haha. But
and no, I'm done.
Okay. Is it just do we even have to have the conversation, or do we just plug Milton Williams in right away?
Plug Milton Williams in, baby. Go big or go home, baby.
Yep, I like it. That's good. I think he's turned into my number one want for this team as far as I know. Seriously, you've been on it for quite some time, and I just look at I've always wanted left tackle, wide receiver, or quarterback before Drake May, but left tackle, wide receiver, left tackle, wide receiver. And now I'm like, bring in the guy up front, especially with Godshaw, the switching of the fronts under the Terrell Williams defense. It just makes too much sense for them to bring in Milton Williams and just let him wreak havoc. Wait on Christian Barmore. Obviously, we'll see what happens there. But I think that Milton Williams makes a ton of sense. Do we already have another new member?
Oh my goodness, the family is growing.
Let's go. Appreciate you guys. It really does. I know we're kind of just clapping it up and laughing it off, but seriously, it means a lot. This is
I just laugh when I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
And from Toronto. Oh, I love Torontons.
From Toronto, Canada. Is there
what do you call people from Toronto? Please let us know, D. Torontonians? Torontons?
Canadians.
Tarantulas.
Okay. Okay. Timeout. Another free agent that just became available today is Harold Landry.
Oh yeah. We'll get to edge. We're still working on the interior. We're still
all right. Fine.
Torontonian.
Okay, fine.
That sounds way better than tarantulas.
Okay, that's not bad. I went to college there. He told us that too.
Yeah, that's how I know you call it Toronto. I say it like he does now.
Oh, Toronto. I gotcha. Okay. At any rate, interior. Are we making any other moves on the interior, or is Milton Williams our big splash?
Yeah, so I also want to acknowledge Jonathan Allen is available. He was released by the Commanders after they tried to find
another one.
Oh, the family is bigger and stronger. By the end of this, I think we're going to have a starting offense, to be honest. That's the goal for this show. Obviously, we're not begging if you want to. We love it. But
yeah, of course.
If we have a starting offense, I think maybe we call up Braves and we're like, hey, man, we got a roster. What's the Mark Wahlberg movie? Invincible?
Yes, Invincible. When they try out for the Eagles, yeah.
All right. Anyway, thank you. We appreciate you all.
Yeah, we really do. It's awesome.
On the interior, so Jonathan Allen is available. I would love him for the Patriots. I think he's the perfect combination of, we have no idea what's going to happen to Christian Barmore. That has to be acknowledged. If the outlook on him is murky, then I think Jonathan Allen is the perfect kind of replacement where I'm sure he's still got a couple years of really good football in front of him. But if we're talking about realism, I think the best idea might be to bring in a guy like Levi on Ozariki. Ozariki, yes. Onzariki. I looked it up yesterday. I wanted to make sure I was saying it right because he has the history with Terrell Williams. They were together last year in Detroit, had himself a breakout year last year. He's also battled, I think it was, he's battled some kind of injury. I think it was neck or back or something kind of scary. And was able to have a really good year. So I would like him as added depth on the interior. He's got some versatility as well. You get that with Milton Williams and Levi where, Milton, you don't really want him at nose tackle very much, but he can do it. And then it just gives you more depth. So maybe I'll say ahead of Jeremiah Farms, we can put Levi Ozariki on Ozariki.
Another member.
Santiago, thank you.
Well, as I fix this up and put in our good friend Levi, we appreciate you, Santiago, for also joining. This literally feels like a radio telephone where you
What's
sit
a
here and
Taylor emoji?
you just kick. Is
Is
there
that
already a
thing?
custom
That's
emoji for you?
I don't know. That's terrifying. I kind of hope not, but that would be really. If people like it. It is what it is. I'm a man of the people.
Hey, anything to bump the members, you know.
My ADHD is on fire right now. This is like Tay unfiltered.
That's okay. It's Friday. We're here to just hang out anyway. Mad members, very much. We appreciate you all. I'll leave you up there, Santiago, for a few. Wait. Oh, it doesn't come up. So this is a member who looks like he was putting in a Tay emoji, and it doesn't come up.
Kind of relieved. I'm
I
scared.
know, but so figure that out on our back end as we continue with the defense, which I think we bring in Milton and Levi, and I think that sort of shores it up front, at least for the time being. Moving on to linebackers, Harold Landry / edge or linebacker.
Yeah. Defensive end. It's a scheme change. It's different. We're all learning.
Exactly. And so, but also Jamie and Sherwood, I feel like is the big one here because they said they covet him and that he is a big fit in this Patriots defense. Mm-hmm. So do we think they sign both of them? Do they sign one of them? What do you think of the linebacker position?
I think Juwan Bentley ends up either getting traded or released in this situation. So I would replace. So I'm I hate to say it. You know, you have a lot of respect for Juwan Bentley, what he's done, his role and all that. But with the injury, he's battled injury the past 2 years, obviously ended last season with a torn pectoral. He's I think he's gonna be 29 years old. That's not old for a linebacker, but for a linebacker who does what he does and has been banged up, it just feels like a bad recipe. In a new regime, as much as you'd like to retain that leadership, Sherwood's a guy who is on the rise in New York. They want to retain him. We'll see if it actually ends up getting done. But I think he could be that signal caller communicator in the middle of the defense. And he's a dude who maybe 216, like he's safety size. He doesn't play like a safety. He's long, he's physical. He knows how to beat blockers. Some of the weaknesses you'd expect from a 216-pound linebacker, but he brings that physicality and that edge, and he's really impressive in coverage. He can play man against tight ends. He can cover, the deep middle and those split safety coverages. So, yeah, I'm all for Jamie and Sherwood. If he hits the market, the Patriots need to make a really hard push to get him.
Yep, I'm with you. I like Sherwood there. I think it makes all the sense in the world, and I feel like again, the reporting from Andrew and Doug, we got a new member too. Let's go. The reporting from Andrew and Doug that say that they covet him tells me that they're gonna really try and bring him in. And you're right. I think, unfortunately, as much of a long-term captain and leader of the team, Juwan Bentley's been, I think he's probably gonna end up on the outside looking in to this revamped Patriots roster. Harold Landry, are we throwing some cash at him?
Yeah, I think you move Keon White back a little bit. I can take care of that. Yeah, we just bump. Oh, yeah, you got it. Bump him back. And then I think, we end up putting Harold Landry just at least as someone who can show, Keon White maybe how it's supposed to be done under Terrell Williams. Because I will say, Harold Landry is still. He tore his ACL and really lost his explosiveness, and he's not an expert hand fighter, and he's not a guy that wins with power. So he really is mostly a finesse rusher, and he's also solid against the run. I want to give him that. But this does not solve your pass rush woes. I think that's something you're still going to have to address with a player who, especially on pass rush downs, can take the field. But at the very least, he's depth. He's someone who can be around in camp, give you a little bit more bodies, depending on what happens in the rest of free agency and then the draft.
And familiarity with, like you said, the system, but also, Mike Vrabel and someone who can, we mentioned when we were talking about DK Metcalf to start the show, the players you sign in free agency are what's going to lay the foundation for your culture. And he knows the culture Mike Vrabel built in Tennessee. He went to Boston College, so there's a connection there as well. I don't know how much that really matters, but he could want to come back this way from New Jersey, I believe. So I think that makes a ton of sense in the world for him. That's turned into my new saying, and I need to stop saying it. It makes all the sense in the world. So every time I say that, scream at the top of your lungs.
Also, Jeff mentions Dre Greenlaw. I think he's a plan B option.
Okay.
The Patriots have shown interest in that kind of Robert Saleh defense. They've shown interest in, at least reportedly, like Travarius Ward and DJ Reed. So you're thinking that kind of hybrid, very zone heavy, but in obvious pass situations, there's more man. Dre Greenlaw definitely fits. Him, and then I would also, I don't like Nick Bolton. I thought would fit. He's not someone they've been connected to, but yeah, Dre Greenlaw is definitely a name to keep an eye on as well.
All righty. Let's move on. You mentioned some Saleh players there, Saleh, San Francisco 49er guys. Cornerback is a starting position here that we still have empty, the right cornerback spot. Now, across the board in that Herald article, it says that Charvarius Ward will be among the Patriots' top targets, and that they also should be in the market for Byron Murphy, DJ Reed, and that they also have interest in bringing Jonathan Jones back on a cheaper team-friendly deal. So that feels like that ABC mold that they've sort of outlined there as well, where Ward is the big guy they want, would settle for Murphy, would settle for Reed, and then Jonathan Jones can come back essentially if he wants to do it on a cheaper deal. So who is the top choice, and are we going with Charvarius Ward here as that number one?
So I know he had a really unfortunate 2024. He lost water and mentioned that it was a traumatic experience. Being in San Francisco is hard for him, and he does want to go somewhere else. Right. I saw something that mentioned, I'm sorry, I forget where it was, that Texas may be a place that he's interested in. So
okay.
I think, if there's a place that he wants to be familiar, I think that makes the most sense. As much as I like the player, what he did in 2023, like he was arguably the best corner in football that season.
Right.
I think he allowed the lowest passer rating, a lot of turnovers, a lot of production on the ball. So he's a good player. Also fits that ability to play zone, especially the quarter system where he's able to really split the difference between receivers and put himself in position to make those plays. Love the player. I just don't know if it's a fit, if he'd want to come to the East Coast, maybe. Again, right. I just think comfort and a place that he really gravitates towards makes more sense. So I think maybe instead you double dip at corner. I don't know how realistic this is necessarily if they were just going to go with DJ Reed or Byron Murphy, but they have the money to get both. I don't know if Marcus Jones is going to be a fit. Like Jonathan Jones kind of surprised me as someone they were entertaining bringing back because he does not fit their size threshold. Usually it's like 5'10", 185 at the minimum. Now, Jonathan Jones isn't very far off from that, but Marcus Jones is. He's like 5'8" and 175 pounds. That I just think he's going to end up getting traded, to be very honest. But we can just move him back for now. He's still a valuable player, so I don't think they're going to be in a rush to release him.
Yeah.
Still up in the air. So what I will say is I think we double dip. I'm going to go with DJ Reed and Byron Murphy Jr. here. Byron Murphy Jr. has inside-out flexibility, a ton of production on the ball. But now I'm second guessing a little bit because
what about Paulson? I know we don't have him listed, but
I think that's a thing. I think that DJ Reed is a guy who actually would start no matter what. And I know Byron and base would play outside.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I got greedy.
So let's keep Marcus there for now, and maybe we touch it in the draft.
I say Byron Murphy because he's had the
over DJ Reed.
I say and then maybe they get more of another corner in the draft, but I think Byron Murphy's going to be a guy they take a swing at. Also, it was reported that he's not coming back to Minnesota. So, is
Byron Murphy our boundary corner, or are we keeping him?
He's our slot guy.
Okay,
our slot guy.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking is you get a outside corner like a right or a field corner that's going to be more of a draft pick, like your mid-round draft pick, so you can rotate him in.
Okay, so. With that being said, here is our trade/free agency class before we get into our mock draft here. We trade for Brandon Ayuk. We trade for Michael Mayer. We signed Chris Godwin, Austin Hooper, Cam Robinson, Patrick McCarry. This is a loaded free agent class. Again, it's the dream. They have the money to do so.
Ball knowers know.
Yeah, we'll see if they can make it happen. But Morgan Moses closes out the offensive side. And then on defense, we go Milton Williams, Levi Onwuzurike, Harold Landry, Jamie Sherwood, and Byron Murphy. That would kick
We actually do have one more spot, kicker, but it's easy. I think we could just put Joey Slye. Makes a lot of sense. Familiarity. There's not an objectively better kicker on the market. We could slide him in there. Also, for Javon Holland, somebody mentioned in the chat.
Yeah.
I will believe the Patriots are going to get a new safety when I see it because they don't use the 3 safety nickel as much as the Patriots have in other seasons. Vrabel really just puts his slot defender is just the guy that's going to be there regardless of personnel. 3 safety comes in more in dime, which they will play a good amount of, but I don't know if you're going to sign a Javon Holland or a Trayvon Morrig or a Justin Reed or somebody like that when you have Peppers and Kyle Duggar. Both battled injury and had their own situations, so we'll see what they feel about these guys. Marte Mapu, maybe he's better under, a new regime, but I just don't see them spending a lot of money at safety.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So that is our free agent class. We will close it out here with a mock draft. We'll go 4 rounds. Take a look at that. So Taylor's going to pull that up on his end because he is the one who has the PFF access. So we're going to go 4 rounds, go through it. One of them is going to be the Ayuk pick. So we'll only go with 1 third-round selection. So we'll go 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th to fill out the rest of these holes. But first, we got something fun coming up. I don't know why that's not. Come on.
Go. I was so close.
What the heck? Why isn't it working?
I'm not touching anything.
It's probably touching it. Hey, there it is. We're doing a live stream tonight on CLNS at 7:30 to 10:30. It's to support cancer research. So you can join and donate. It's called the Pats Pre-Agency Party. It's going to be hosted by Fitzy, Doug Codd, and Andrew Callahan. You got a ton of guests lined up, including Taylor Kyle. So he will be on the show. You got ESPN's Mike Reese and Field Yates, Megan Ottolini from WEI, former Patriots safety Devin McCourty joining the show, ESPN's Bill Barnwell, Michael Hurley, and Tom Curran joining in as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You can donate during the stream. It's going to be tonight, 7:30 to 10 p.m. Again, hosted by Fitzy, Doug, and Andrew to support cancer research. So if you got nothing to do tonight, or even if you're out sitting at a bar, you want to pull up your phone and join the live stream, just pull it up on YouTube. It's going to be hosted here on Patriots Press Pass. So there's that. Check it out tonight again, 7:30 to 10:30. Now we get into the fun stuff. Let's do our mock draft. We have to fill in a couple more holes. Really, right now, the big one feels like cornerback, but again, these can all push back because of what we filled in. So Taylor, pull it up and let's draft this thing to fill in the rest of the roster.
All right. So, my thing isn't working, and I don't know why.
Let me try.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so 4 rounds. Now, do we want to tweak the settings at all? Do we want to go with PFF's board? Do we care about randomness? What are you thinking on this?
I would definitely. I don't want it to be too random because I want it to be realistic. I think we can kind of keep the public and PFF in the middle. Randomness. I don't know why. What does like all the way less mean? Like it's just going to be the board.
Random.
No matter
I think
what?
like if it's more, it's exactly what the PFF board and like the combination probably thinks they'll be. I feel like this just means like how silly can the algorithm get with it?
No, it should be the opposite. More random would be more crazy.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So flip it to like there. I think that's fine because we don't want it to be the perfect board, but I don't want it to get carried away either.
Okay. All right. We'll not overthink it. Is that good?
4 rounds, Patriots. Let's rock.
Are we trading or are we just letting this happen?
God, I haven't done one of these live in so long.
We'll entertain trades. If they're proposed trades, we'll do that. We'll just go with the board, okay? Also, we'll try to be realistic. But if we get Abdul Carter, okay. So
is he there? He's on the board. Who were the first 3 picks?
He's like this Ashton Genty. Like, okay, yeah, got a little too random there.
But it could also be a quarterback,
right? But
see, that's the problem. I don't know if we can rely on.
I don't think Abdul Carter is going to be there. I think he's going to be the first on quarterback off the board. So let's look at trades. All right.
Okay.
9. Would we be willing to go to 9? I don't mind that because I think we can get a haul for this.
Yeah, same.
All right. So
9, 40, and 71.
How about so how about the
So we move
you want
back.
to try this?
Yeah, I like that.
So we had 40. We move up. Yeah, I feel like we're getting robbed, but we're just gonna go by the trade chart because I'm not smart enough to know anything else but the trade chart.
I'm fine with that though because look, like we said, we don't think Carter's gonna be there. So at this point, we're trading out to 9 for a decent. So yeah, I like it. Let's move back.
Let's do it, baby. All right.
Hey, accepted.
All right. So we got Will Campbell and Armand Membu. Now,
we We signed Cam Robinson. We signed Morgan Moses. So this
Cam Robinson's not a long-term solution, or
This-
neither is Morgan Moses.
this sets up for what I was talking about with the Jets, where they signed Smith and they drafted Olu at 11, and he was their stopgap. It feels like that on the right side with Morgan Moses and Armin Membu.
And Membu doesn't have any of the physical, like, I don't know what the red flags are. Like, he's
I know.
young, he's big, he's long, or like long enough. He's a great athlete. He plays the kind of style the Patriots like. Man, I love me some Will Campbell, but Armand Membu, just other than playing left tackle, I don't really see why you wouldn't take him.
The other one, this is from Jeff in the chat. You take Campbell here. It shores up left guard as well if he can't.
But I don't think left guard is bad. I think Patrick McCarry is a good guard. I don't think he's the kind of guy that you need to protect necessarily.
I agree. Do we go defense and take a Jihad Campbell, or we don't need Campbell at this point?
Tackle is more important.
Is Will Johnson still on the board for cornerback? Or was he taken?
He's still.
Oh, he's still there.
I'm not taking a cornerback that's not Travis Hunter.
It's Membu. I think we go Membu.
Membu? Okay.
All right.
Also, before we go, because it's going to go fast, do we want to trade back into the first round? Or, because I'm thinking edge rush.
Well, because we now have 38 and 40.
Okay, if we did defense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Josh
Maybe
Connolly.
Ariante Ursary is probably going to be there. So would we want to bank on him being available, or do we want to maybe make a trade to like ensure that we can get him? Because I would do Jihad Campbell. I would do it.
Would you go him over Will Johnson, though?
If we can get a left tackle, then yes. And I think if we wanted to get a right tackle, I think
No, Will Johnson, not Will Campbell.
Oh, no.
The corner.
No. I want a pass rusher.
Oh, boy.
I want a pass rusher. Premium position. Let's look at, all right, 26. Okay, let's see. The Rams. What would it cost? No, I'm not giving you that. 93.
Keep in mind, 77 probably went for Ayuk.
Yeah, that's true. How's
30.
this?
So we move back to
We move back into the first round. This is tackle territory. And we basically give up. This would be our 4th round pick.
I still feel like Membu's the most realistic pick here.
Yeah, but we can still get a tackle. I honestly think we could stand pat and get Ariante Ursary. Because I don't like the edge rushers that are going to be available in the 2nd round. Like Ezraku's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Like the best guy's probably going to be Princely Uman Mielon, and I don't love him, to be honest.
All right, do it. Jihad. Wait, did you make the trade first? We got to make sure we get that.
But we're going to get, I think Membu's going to be, okay, so do we try to trade? I think we trade one of these 2nd round picks.
I agree.
Move back a little bit. All right, so I'm not going all the way back to 52.
Should we take our tackle with 38, though?
Yeah, I think so. But so with 40, we could plan ahead if we want.
Okay.
Well, let's just take our tackle. Let's take our tackle. Let's not overthink it. First, do business as business is being done. Oh, look at that. And if it's not Ariante Ursary, I would entertain Donovan Jackson, to be honest.
Okay, I agree.
Ursary. All right, now trenches have been addressed. 2 premium positions. Now, would you want to get a pass catcher after we trade? Let's trade first.
Let's trade.
45. Okay. I can do 45. 45. All right. So what would they give up? 116. 80. Could we get 80? No chance, apparently.
I would trade back 5 spots for 116.
Yeah. Can we get a little extra? Can we get greedy? 190. Let's see if they'll do it. Is that fair? You cool with this?
3 picks for. Yeah. See if
90% still. It's 88%.
All right, go for it.
Nice. Cool. Okay. All right. So who did we miss out on? Landon Jackson. He is a Patriots fit. I like the upside, but I don't love the player as much as I want to, but it would make sense. Trey Amos, yeah, he would be a fit. Nick Scorton, I like him, don't love him. Siobhan Ravel, I know that's a guy that a lot of Patriots fans are probably going to like, and I do not dislike the idea of taking a corner. Like if he was available with this pick, I would definitely consider it. And then Alec Iomanor definitely fits that X type of receiver that the Patriots don't have on the roster and would be much more reliable probably. But they're gone. So now that
Shadura is still on the board, that's insane.
Oh, damn. I think people just stopped picking him in these.
I know. That's
Or did he
crazy.
fall on PFF's board?
I don't know. What does it say he is? ADP is 8.8, but he ranks 47. That's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, so it's PFF's ranking. All right,
Yeah.
so
Now we're looking for our pass catcher.
pass catcher or defensive playmaker, I'd say. One or the other.
Okay.
So Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins, Carson Schwezinger.
Restrepo.
I'll take him if he's in the next round, but I love him. Restrepo, Elijah Arroyo. I think he's going to be a third rounder. Okay, so we're basically talking Jaden Higgins, Xavier Restrepo. I like JT Tuimoloau, but we already have an edge rusher. Braylon Swinson, same thing. Alfred Collins. The Patriots said there's a lot of depth at tackle, and there is.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, he's a really good player. Shamar Turner also has a lot of potential.
Keep in mind,
or would you add to the trenches?
I think we have to go pass catcher here because right now we're dealing with Ayuk and Godwin that we signed / traded for, but those are guys that are dealing with injury, and we need to try and get ourselves a little bit more of a sure thing. So,
yep,
I say pass catcher, but do we go Higgins or Restrepo?
I say Higgins. He gives you a skill set you don't have, I think, in the free agent class.
Totally agree. As much as I like Restrepo, let's go with Jaden Higgins.
Awesome, baby. All right, now in the third, any good trade opportunities? 81. Let's see if this is even the thing they do. Oh, would you? And see maybe the best tight end available, or let's see the board first. I'm sorry.
We're gonna end up making a ton of picks in the first 4 rounds at this rate.
That's fine. I like all these guys. All right, so 81. Oh, we have a pick at 77. I'm trading this.
Okay.
I'm trading this.
All right.
Or is there anybody that you're in love with that you're like, I can't lose them?
We already
8 picks.
We already took. No, there's not because I don't love Mason Taylor.
Yeah.
No, trade back.
All right, traded, baby. Okay, anything else? Take 194. You can't stop me. All right. All right, 77 now.
Wait. This is for Ayuk.
Oh, true. Okay.
So we can't make this pick.
This is our kicker pick. Wait, let's see. Who's this?
Yeah.
All right. No offense, Kai Kroger. No offense, Kai Kroger.
That's Brandon Ayuk for you. Okay, now we're at 81.
Yes. All right. So do you want to go tight end? Do you want defensive playmaker? Jalen Royals is still here. Marcus Mbo, great versatility on the interior. There's a lot of good options here.
There is.
Jeffrey.
Bassa, that's your guy. Take him. I know you like him.
Yeah, thank you.
It's all you.
Let's go. We got our linebacker. Okay. Yeah. All right. So look, this is a good class so far. We've addressed edge rusher, tackle, wide receiver with Ayuk.
You see this comment?
I mean, yes, we're goofing. We're having fun.
100%.
But also, I think this could also, seriously, we did trade away the pick. That's why we chose punter.
Exactly.
And we've got our defensive playmaker. Now I think we can really have fun with this. We have 3 more picks left. So now we're going with value. Who do you like? You want RJ Harvey? Running back? You can add to the trenches. We can go tight end.
Fannin. Take Fannin. That's my pick right now.
Let's do it. I'm down. Let's go Fannin, baby.
That's my guy. Need him.
All right. Now I think we go interior. Defense. Can we get a trade-off? Let's see. 123. No, whatever. Let's just pick. Whatever.
Aeneas
Gunnar Helm.
We just took a tight end.
Exactly, but that's your Hunter Henry Jonnu 2.0, and we're picking again in 2 picks.
Or it's your, what's it called? Who was the 2 guys they drafted? Asi and
Don't do that. That's mean. That's mean.
Who was the other one? Dalton Keene.
It was Dalton Keene.
Oh boy.
Let me see what interior guys are.
Didn't you just want Aeneas Peebles? Don't you like him?
I do, but I like Pegas.
All right, take him.
All right, so him and Gunner, is that okay?
On these next 2 picks?
Yeah.
What receivers?
I like middle.
Wait, we don't have a corner yet, and I like Kobe Bryant.
True, we don't have a corner. That's a good point. Okay, I can do Kobe Bryant. You want to do that?
Let's do Kobe Bryant and take your pick of Gunnar Helm or the kid from Mississippi.
Let's go. I'm going Gunnar Helm. Okay, those are our picks.
And just like that,
what's our class? Not
Like
bad
over.
at all. I like this a lot. All right, so let me zoom it out a little bit. That's a lot of players.
That
That's
is
a lot of players.
Yep.
All right,
But-
all right. So you fill it in now.
So here's the thing with a lot of players, I'll fill in as I talk. With a lot of players, though, there's a lot of players on this Patriots team that have the ability to just be cut and turned over. Like, it's not a good roster. So you bring in these young guys, you bring in a lot of veterans from the market, and you completely sort of tip this thing on its head. So
That's very true. And I could also acknowledge some things in the comments too. How about that while you fill in?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so first, let's see. Matthew Golden not going in the first. Yeah, that's crazy. I think that's going to happen. Although I don't think his like position or projections have moved very much, which is pretty interesting. Sleeping on a lot of sleepers. Yeah, I've been paying attention to free agents and trying to prep for that. There's a lot of players I haven't watched yet. That's going to be a theme. If I'm not picking a lot of running backs or talking about a lot of running backs or like depth safeties and DBs, I'm watching trenches mostly in receivers up to this point if I've watched anybody. Let's see. Yeah, we traded for Mayer, but it was a late round pick swap, so that's why, we didn't even get that far. Didn't really come up. Aeneas Peeble is a dog. My thing is, I'm hoping the Patriots somewhere in like the 5th or 6th round can find a really good value for a defensive tackle and running back. Hopefully they can find those guys around there because I think the depth is going to be fantastic. If Tyler Warren was still available when we picked at 9, I absolutely would have taken him. I don't think I really would have given it a second thought. Would you have?
If he was still at 9, probably not.
Yeah.
I would have taken him. No, I think I don't know how much of a need it is, but like he's just a dog. Like he kind of just got to do it.
That's fair. And Colston Loveland, I haven't watched him enough to be able to stand on the table yet for him, but what I've seen, he's very impressive as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then RJ Harvey, yeah, another guy I want to watch. I keep hearing good things about him, but I don't want to like blow smoke. And the guys that are on here, I've actually watched and I really do like.
All right.
Except for Kai Kroger, no offense.
I'm gonna put Alex Austin as our starting right cornerback for now, and I'm gonna move Kobe Bryant behind him, considering he's a rookie.
Fair.
And if I share my screen again, we will be able to look at our filled in. Thank you. This is a draft.
Look at that roster.
Oh wait, we still need Jihad Campbell. Are we bumping him as
an
edge rusher?
I would bump Harold Landry. I bump Harold.
Yeah.
Landry.
Okay. I'm just gonna put Titus Leo here for now.
Oh yeah, you can do that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Only because I don't want to. I don't want to mess with your roster because this is just us kind of messing around. And there you have it. The remade Patriots. What do we think, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know in the comments. I'll go over it again. We traded for Ayuk. We traded for Michael Mayer. We signed Chris Godwin, Austin Hooper, Cam Robinson, Patrick McCarry, Morgan Moses, Milton Williams, Levi Ozariki, Harold Landry, and Byron Murphy. And then we go rogue in the draft and we take, in a good way, Jihad Campbell. Oh, God. What was the order? Jihad Campbell, Ariante Aristide.
Did I exit it already? I don't think I did. Let me see. Do I still have it? Damn, I think I exited out. I didn't even save it.
They're in here. Harold Fannin doubled up with Gunnar Helm. Jaden Higgins at receiver. And Kobe Bryant is our backup / potential starter at cornerback. So I don't know how realistic it is, Taylor, but that's what we called it a dream scenario for this free agency. The real thing is going to happen next week, starting on Monday. Carlos said Patriots are out on Ayuk and Metcalf. Is this
Where does it say that?
I don't know. Let's see what Carlos had to tweet. Los Talks Pats.
I haven't seen this.
Unlikely to finalize any sort of trade for my career. Interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But regardless, I think that they could be in the mix for guys like that. I think that they're going to be relatively aggressive. It sounds like that's the plan. And so, again, we went ultra aggressive here, but it's semi-realistic that they make a ton of moves because they have the draft capital and they have the space in salary cap space. So that's our look at it. We'll tweet out that new look roster. We'll try and keep the comments to a minimum, or at least the bad comments. But again, we're trying to have fun here.
Roast us.
Exactly. free agency is coming very shortly. So next week is going to be hectic, but it's going to be fun. Monday, the negotiation / legal tampering period opens at noontime. Wednesday at 4 p.m. is when contracts can officially be signed. So there's going to be a ton of moving parts. We're going to be on here as much as possible on the channel. Will probably be a ton of free agency live streams. I know Brian and Alex will probably be doing a bunch of them too. Maybe we'll cross over at some point. We don't have a concrete plan, but we will be here on Patriots Press Pass throughout all of the action. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Keep it here with Patriots Daily and all of the other podcasts on the network. Again, tonight's cancer live stream. I don't know why it doesn't pop up when I click it because that was our roster. Come on, there we go. The Patriots pre-agency party is tonight for cancer research, so make sure you check that out with Fitzy, Doug, and Andrew. And until next time, that's going to do it for us at Patriots Daily. It was a fun 70 minutes, but we got to get into our weekend just like all of you guys do. So thanks for joining us. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and we will talk to you next week for some fun Patriots free agency news. We'll see you next time, everyone.